Grandpa's secret door. It was a quiet evening at Grandpa Henry's old countryside house, where the scent of warm cocoa and aged books filled the air. Little Oliver, a curious 8-year-old with bright, wondering eyes, loved spending summers here, where every corner seemed to whisper secrets of forgotten times. Grandpa's house was nothing like the sleek, modern apartment Oliver lived in back home. It was full of creaky floorboards, dusty old trunks, and walls lined with bookshelves brimming with stories older than his parents. Each summer, Oliver looked forward to long afternoons exploring the hidden corners of the house, hoping to uncover something mysterious. Grandpa Henry, with his twinkling blue eyes and knowing smile, always said, "Some doors in this house have stories waiting behind them." Oliver had always thought it was just Grandpa's way of making the house feel magical, until today. That afternoon, the rain had started gently, pattering against the windows like soft whispers. But by evening, it had turned into a steady rhythm, casting a cozy spell over the house. Oliver had been curled up in Grandpa's big leather armchair, flipping through an old adventure book about lost civilizations and ancient maps. But as he turned the last page, a restless energy bubbled inside him. He wanted his own adventure. He wanted to find something real. He glanced around the dimly lit room. There had to be something in this house, a secret, a hidden treasure, a mystery waiting just for him. And so, with quiet determination, he slipped off the chair and padded toward the attic. The attic had always been Oliver's favorite place. It was a world of its own, filled with wooden chests, forgotten paintings, and old furniture covered in sheets. The scent of time lingered in the air, a mix of aged paper, cedar wood, and a faint trace of Grandpa's pipe smoke. As he wandered through the maze of stored memories, something caught his eye. A peculiar patch of wallpaper on the far wall looked different from the rest. Unlike the faded floral patterns covering the attic, this section was smooth, almost as if it had been placed there recently. Curiosity tingled in Oliver's fingertips as he reached out, pressing his palm flat against the surface. Nothing happened. He frowned, running his hands along the edges, and then his fingers brushed against something cold and metallic, a tiny brass keyhole, barely visible beneath the faded wallpaper. His heart skipped. Had he just found a secret door? Excitement coursed through him as he stepped back, scanning the attic for a key. He yanked open drawers, peeked behind books, even lifted the cushions of an old rocking chair, but nothing revealed itself. Just as he was about to give up, a flicker of light caught his attention. On a nearby wooden shelf, tucked between a stack of yellowed newspapers, something gleamed. Oliver reached for it and gasped. It was a small, ornate key with an intricate swirl design on the handle. Holding his breath, he turned back to the hidden keyhole and gently slid the key in. Click. A deep, hushed silence fell over the attic as the lock turned with ease. Then, with a slow, deliberate creak, the wall shifted, revealing a narrow wooden door that hadn't been opened in who knows how long. Oliver's pulse raced. He reached for the doorknob and pushed. The door swung open, revealing a spiral staircase that wound downward, disappearing into a golden glow. The air smelled different here, like parchment, wildflowers, and something inexplicably enchanting. Clutching the wooden railing, Oliver took a deep breath and stepped inside. As he descended, the attic faded behind him, replaced by an entirely different world. The wooden steps transformed beneath his feet into smooth, moonlit stone, and the glow grew brighter, casting the entire space in a warm, ethereal light. Then he reached the bottom, and his breath caught. Before him stretched a vast, endless library, unlike anything he had ever seen. Towering bookshelves curved toward the domed ceiling, each shelf filled with books that shimmered like constellations. Floating lanterns bobbed gently in the air, casting golden beams of light across the polished marble floors. The entire room was alive with quiet murmurs, not eerie or frightening, but warm, like the whisper of a mother telling a bedtime story. A grand oak desk stood in the center, covered in scrolls, quills, tools, and ink bottles, and as if someone had just been writing moments ago. In the distance, golden vines crept along the bookshelves, wrapping around an enormous hourglass, its sand glistening like tiny stars. Oliver felt as if he had stepped into the heart of a forgotten dream. As he took another step forward, a soft voice spoke. "Welcome, young dreamer." Oliver spun around, eyes widening. An elderly man with a long silver beard stood before him, wearing a robe patterned with constellations. His presence radiated kindness and wisdom, as if he belonged to both time and the stories themselves. "I am the keeper of forgotten stories," the man said, smiling gently. "And you, my boy, have found the door of dreams." For hours, Oliver explored the enchanted library, reading books that came to life as he turned their pages. He met characters who stepped right out of their stories: a brave young knight, a mischievous fox, a kind-hearted giant. The keeper explained that each book contained a story that had once been loved, but had since been forgotten. It was Oliver's task to bring them back into the world, to let people dream again. He eagerly accepted, knowing that he had discovered something truly special. As the lanterns dimmed and the soft hum of the library grew quieter, the keeper led Oliver back to the spiral staircase. "Your journey does not end here," he said. "You will return many times, each visit bringing new stories to life." With a final smile, he placed a hand on Oliver's shoulder, and suddenly Oliver was back in the attic, standing before the now closed door. The ornate key lay in his palm, but the book remained in his arms, solid and real. A rush of excitement coursed through him. He ran downstairs, bursting into the living room where Grandpa Henry sat by the fireplace, sipping tea. "Grandpa," Oliver gasped. "I found it! The secret door!" Grandpa's eyes twinkled with understanding, as if he had been waiting for this moment. "Did you now?" he said, setting his cup down. "And what did you find behind it?" Oliver hesitated, then slowly opened the book. The pages fluttered, and for a moment, Grandpa's face softened with something like recognition. "Ah," he murmured, running a hand over the silver tree. "It seems you have a great adventure ahead of you." That night, as Oliver lay in bed, the book resting beside him, he listened to the soft rain against the window. His mind swirled with the stories he had seen, the magic he had touched. He knew now this was just the beginning. And as he drifted into sleep, he dreamed not of ordinary things, but of glowing books, whispering stories, and a hidden door that would always be waiting for him.